Right now, while you're sitting there watching this, there are mice and rats inside roughly 21 million American homes across this country. Not 5 years ago. Right now, in 2025. And the wildest part? Most of those homeowners have no idea what they're actually doing wrong. They're buying the wrong stuff, placing it in the wrong spots, and basically just donating money to the pest control aisle at Home Depot. I spent decades in this industry. I've seen every mistake in the book, and today I'm going to show you the exact system that actually works, the one that pros use, broken down in a way that any homeowner can execute starting today. But before we get into the fix, let me hit you with something that'll make you take this a little more seriously. Because look, a lot of people treat this like a minor annoyance. Like, oh, I saw a mouse, whatever. The CDC has confirmed that rodents carry and transmit hantavirus, leptospirosis, salmonella, and rat bite fever directly to humans. And hantavirus is especially scary right now. It made major national headlines earlier this year. Virginia Tech researchers just published a 2025 study identifying 15 different rodent species as carriers. The fatality rate for hantavirus pulmonary syndrome sits at around 36%. That means more than 1 in 3 people who contract it don't survive. Now add the fact that rodents are responsible for hundreds of residential fires every year from chewing through electrical wiring, and they cost Americans over $200 million annually just in vehicle damage alone. Part 1. And this is the thing that trips up almost everyone. Treating the outside first. I know you're seeing mice inside the house, so your instinct is to deal with what's inside. But that's backwards. The absolute most effective approach starts at your perimeter. Think about it this way. If you can make your property somewhere they simply don't want to be, you solve the problem before it even gets through the door. Let's start with food and water, because this one is underestimated constantly. Rats and mice don't need much. Research shows they survive on just 1 to 2 ounces of food per day. That's it. So anything left outside is a resource. Bird feeders? Hear me out on this one because people push back. Birds are messy feeders. Seed falls to the ground constantly, and that scattered seed on the ground is a goldmine for rodents. And your trash cans. Don't just assume they're sealed. Orkin's research points out that a rat's teeth score 5.5 on the Mohs hardness scale, meaning they're strong enough to literally chew through steel garbage cans. Now here's the biology fact that changes everything about how you approach sealing. A house mouse can compress its skeleton and squeeze through a hole no bigger than a dime. A rat can flatten itself and push through a gap the size of a quarter. That is not an exaggeration. That is documented animal biology. It's also exactly why most people's sealing attempts fail. They patch the big obvious stuff and leave a dozen dime-sized gaps completely open. So you need to do a real inspection. For small cracks, a quality caulk works fine. But for any gap where a rodent can actually get their snout into it, you need a material they cannot chew through, and that is copper mesh, not steel wool. Steel wool rusts. Copper mesh is rust-proof, it lasts indefinitely, and the woven copper strands are actually sharp and abrasive on a rodent's mouth. They find it extremely uncomfortable to try to gnaw through. It creates a permanent barrier. The third perimeter element is cover removal. Rats and mice are prey animals. They are hardwired to stay hidden. Overgrown landscaping right against your house, ivy climbing the siding, these are concealed travel corridors. Pest researchers literally call these rodent superhighways. Get your trimmers out. Create a visible clear zone between any vegetation and the actual structure of your house. That gap makes them feel exposed and vulnerable. According to 2025 pest industry data, rodent pressure surges in fall and winter as temperatures drop and they start pushing toward warmth. States in the Northeast and Midwest are the hardest hit. Vermont is currently seeing close to 1 in 4 households with active issues. But here's what's interesting. Orkin's latest rattiest cities list just flipped for the first time ever. Los Angeles knocked Chicago out of the #1 spot. So this is not just a cold weather problem anymore. Rodent pressure is spreading. Okay, part 2. And this is where we take back the inside of your home. If they've already made it in, the same foundational principle applies. If there is no food, there is no reason for them to stay. But this requires actual daily discipline. Taking out the trash every single night, not when it's full every night. No dirty dishes sitting in the sink overnight, and your pet's food bowl cannot stay down on the floor after mealtime. These sound like small habits, but they are critical. A lot of people hear about this issue, and their first instinct is to grab poison bait packets and throw them around inside the house. Please don't do this. I'm going to explain why, and once you hear it, you will never consider it again. When a rodent eats a poison bait indoors, it goes back to wherever it sleeps, inside a wall cavity, in the ceiling, and it dies there. Now you have a decomposing animal in a space you cannot access without literally tearing open your walls. The smell is unbearable. Traps are always the correct choice for indoors because you maintain control. You know what you caught, you know exactly where it is, and you remove it immediately. Your 2 main options are snap traps and live traps. Snap traps are inexpensive, reusable, and when placed correctly, they are devastatingly effective. Placement is where most people get it wrong. The bait end of a snap trap should always face the wall, not point out into the room. Let me give you 3 pro-level tips. First, always wear gloves when you handle traps. Mice and rats have an extraordinary sense of smell. Your scent on a trap flags it as something new and suspicious, and they will avoid it. Second, the peanut butter problem. Rodents can lick soft bait off with precision. The solution is a small piece of marshmallow. The sticky gummy texture means they cannot lick it off cleanly. They have to pull and tug at it. It works every time. Third, don't set 1 or 2 traps and hope for the best. Space your traps approximately every 10 feet along the walls in any room with known activity. That density creates a gauntlet they essentially cannot travel through without hitting one. Alright, here's the bonus information specifically for anyone with kids or dogs. The solution is elegant. You take your snap trap and you place it inside a lockable bait station box. The station has entry holes sized specifically for rodents. Pest behavioral research shows that mice and rats actually prefer to investigate food sources inside small, dark, enclosed spaces. It triggers their natural instinct to feel protected. So by placing the snap trap inside, you're making it safer and more attractive. The final piece is the daily routine. Every morning you check your traps, caught something, dispose of it in a sealed bag, rinse the trap off with a hose, no soap, because a faint trace of rodent scent actually increases future catches. Reset and reposition. Last things, and these matter. When cleaning up areas where rodents have been active, do not sweep or vacuum it dry. The CDC specifically warns against this. Instead, dampen the area with a disinfectant spray first, and then wipe it up. This is critical. Handle all caught rodents with gloves. You now have the complete system. Perimeter lockdown, interior protocol, trap methodology, and the safety upgrades that make it all work. This is the whole playbook. Subscribe and hit that like button. Stay safe out there.